Alright guys, second video for the day. We're going to talk about Rose McGowan. Because she's right, but she's wrong. And let's break it all down. If that doesn't leave you confused for 5 seconds, nothing will. Rose McGowan goes on Fox News to say Democrats are in the cult. And the fury erupts. Because there's nothing saying like, I'm not in a cult. Like screaming at someone, I'm not in a cult! And they missed the part where the GOP are cultists too. Now, like I said, she did claim that the Democrats are in a cult. She also claimed that the GOP are in a cult. I would give her half credit on that. Some of them are, yes. But at the end of the day, not a lot of people are. A lot of people join the GOP just because of the fact that the left has gone so far off the deep end that the only other option is the GOP. And plus the GOP these days is very much a soft Democrat sort of system. So, you know, obviously there's still, you know, First Amendment, pro-First Amendment, pro-Second Amendment, stuff like that, which is what the Democrats used to be back in 10, 20 years ago. So the Republicans now, obviously they still stand for against abortion and stuff like that. But for the most part, the Democrats 20 years ago are what the Republicans are now. So that's why a lot of the people joined the GOP. But let's break it all down. So the no-nonsense activist Rose McGowan managed to infuriate Democrat true believers by going on Fox News and saying that we're in a cult. Like I said, nothing says I'm not in a cult like screaming at someone that you're not in a cult. Blue campers rush to explain how Republicans are worse, either missing or ignoring her point. McGowan, a former actress and leader voice in the Me Too movement a few years ago, by the way, who's also friends and also, by the way, backed Joe Biden, even though he had those allegations against him. Yeah. Like I said, I have no love lost for Rose McGowan, but she is right in the fact that some of the people in the GOP and a lot of people in the Democratic Party are in the cult. But we'll get to that in a sec. Suffered a large barrage of outrageous tweets from Democrats on Tuesday that prompted her appearance on Fox News, which she used to explain why she believes some Democrats live in a cult without realizing it. Now, we do have the clip, and we're probably just going to watch the clip, actually.
Democrats control 2 branches of government.
It does go for 8 minutes, though. Is there can we skip through this and find the good part?
Government and are attempting to control the... Thank you. Talk to everyone here who may for the...
know if you've heard my name or read, actually are in a deep cult that they... But I come in peace. I am not here way and ignore all other aspects of kind of...
Right, I found the part. That was all.
Reality in a way, and that you're serving a master that might not be serving you. And I always say I come in peace. I am not here to make people feel bad about their political choices, but I am here to say that you might be in a cult too if you don't know the signs. And I do believe Democrats most especially are in a deep cult that they really don't and know about and aren't really aware of. And I leave the Republicans alone more because I do respect people more that are like, this is what we are, this is what we're about, this is what we're against. Whereas I find that the Democrats are really pretty much almost against all the same things. They're against changing the world for the better. And they're for keeping a system in place that is for so few people and benefits so few, but they masquerade as the helpers. We would do this. The world would be perfect if only those Republicans would get out of the way. Well, okay, you've got control. So now what? What are you going to do to make the world better?
You see, it comes down to an issue of betrayal, really, because neither one of us are Republicans, right? I mean, we are the women that were supposed to be the beneficiaries of all of these programs and promises of the Democrats. And here we are in a world where Republicans have been demonized. And yet, you know, I identify as a conservative. It does irritate certain people, but it really is about freedom. It's about personal freedom, about living lives that best suit us. And that's what you're doing as well when it comes to the choices. Look, a great actress, you're a writer, you are a businesswoman, you have a new beloved, you actually have time for a relationship, and you're happy. You're becoming at least happier considering the nature of what you experienced from Hollywood. Is that something you regularly...
So the rest of it we probably don't care about. But, okay, so just to touch on what she's saying there. She's saying that basically that the Democrats and some of the Republicans, she does say both, are in a deep cult where they feel that, that they can't do anything. They're here to save the world, like she says. The Democrats are supposed to be here to save the world, right? But they can't do it because Trump, or they can't do it because of the Republicans are in the way. Well, like she says, you have two states of government. You have the House, you have the Senate, for the most part, and also you have the White House. You have three branches of the government, all yours. But you still aren't doing anything that you promised that you could do if you ran the government. Like, for example, right? That Joe Biden, we're going to send out $2,000 checks. Okay, he sent out $1,400 checks. And then he also removed thousands of people or millions of people off the list before sending out those $1,400 checks. And then those $1,400 checks took, 4 months, 3-4 months to be sent out? He can lead an invasion into Syria the next day, but those $2,000 checks take 3 months to send out. It's like you claim you're here to help people. And then the GOP, for the, some situations are just as bad too. Mitch McConnell, for example. But at the end of the day, some of these Democrats, they're like, yeah, we're here to save the world. We're gonna do climate change and all this. And don't get me wrong, I don't want the Democrats to do climate change. I'm kind of glad they've got a lame duck president. But at the end of the day, they claim that they're here to save the world. We're here to do all this stuff. And if only we could get power to do this stuff. Well, you have the power now, and you're still not doing it. So what's the excuse? And that's what she's basically saying is that the Democrat supporters will go to bat and defend the Democratic Party even though people know this to be true. People like Joe Biden, goes up and says, I'm not going to raise taxes. Guess what? He's raising taxes. But people will still sit there and defend Joe Biden even though they know he blatantly lied to them about that. He says he wasn't going to ban fracking, or he was going to ban fracking, then he wasn't going to ban fracking. Oh no, we don't know what we're doing with fracking. Well, guess what? He banned fracking in government land, or whatever it was. So at the end of the day, he's blatantly lied to his base. Now, at the end of the day, like I said, GOP are no better sometimes. You get the people like, for example, and even Trump to this point, right? Trump, for example, was supposedly loving WikiLeaks. And then when he got in power, he hated WikiLeaks and still prosecuted Julian Assange. He still fired Tomahawk missiles at Syria. There are circumstances regarding that I know. But he was backed into a corner. He had to do it. And he chose the lesser of three evils. But at the end of the day, he still fired those Tomahawk missiles. Because of Ivanka Trump sending him a photo of dying kids. And we now know that Syria gas attack was fake. It was used to try and goat Trump into firing off those missiles, which he did. Thanks, Ivanka. But at the end of the day, like she's saying, she's not just saying it's the Democrats here. It's both sides. Both sides do lie. Now, obviously, Trump's a lot better than most Republicans, and he's definitely a lot better than most Democrats. But, like she said, if you can't sit there, and the way I like to do the test to find out if you're in a cult, if you can't sit there and tell me 5 things that Trump did wrong, you're in a cult. And the Democrats, if you can't tell me 5 things that the Democrats do wrong, you're in a cult. Like I said to everybody, I love Trump. I support him. But I can still find out the things that he's done wrong. I can still tell you exactly what he did wrong and what I didn't like. Julian Assange, Edward Snowden not being pardoned, firing the Syrian the Tomahawk missiles at Syria. Appointing people of his cabinet that are deep state that he knew should have been better. He knew he should have known better. Him not going through and jumping onto other social media platforms like Gab or Parler Now, like I said, circumstances around that, he was told or advised by Kushner not to, apparently. Well, yeah. But at the end of the day, hopefully Trump has learnt from it not to take notice of his nephew or his son-in-law. But at the end of the day, like I said, there are things that Trump did wrong. And if you can't point them out, you're in a cult. It's the same with the Democrats. And that's what she's saying here. Is at the end of the day, if you can't point out these things, you're in a cult. Now, by the way, the Democrats responded by screeching at her that they're not in a cult. Nothing says I'm not in a cult more than screaming at someone, I'm not in a cult, when they accuse you of being in a cult. Yeah. But anyway. But guys, yeah, look, I disagree with Rose McGowan on a lot of things. I also disagree with this host on her being a good actress. But regardless, at the end of the day, when she's right, she's right. The Democrats and some Republicans definitely are in a cult. And I think at the end of the day, it's just the fact that people are not taught to creatively think anymore. You're just told to be sheep. Sit there, look at your phone, scroll through your news feeds, post your cat memes, and don't think for yourself. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. I just thought it was really funny how the Democrats reacted. I really did. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, next video, 3 videos today. I know I said there was only 2, but we have a 3rd video. It's going to be a funny one. Have a great night. Enjoy yourselves. I'll see you in the next video. And let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section regarding Rose McGowan. Do you think she's right? Do you think she's wrong? Let us know. Have a great night and enjoy.